Welcome to the IICS Insiders Podcast. Are you a member of the IICS Integrated Christian School community? Or do you know someone who is? Would you like to hear from people around the school and learn more about what they're doing? Join me, Annika Brown-Jones, the head of Curriculum and Instruction, every month as I interview IICS students, teachers, leaders, and many others from across our community. Come along to connect or reconnect to listen to IICS Insider stories of learning, growing, and engaging with those who care. Welcome to the second episode of the IICS Insiders Podcast. I am Annika Brown-Jones, the head of Curriculum and Instruction at the IICS Integrated Christian School, and your host. And in this episode, I speak with two IICS Integrated Christian School, IICS, junior high students, Audrey and Owen, and their teachers, Miss Erica and Mr. Evan, to probe the question, what does it mean to be an IICS insider? Join us to hear from them. And if you're tuning in for the first time, but would like to hear more from our IICS insiders, find us on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to have you here on the IICS Insiders Podcast today, where we're going to try to get first-hand account answers to the question that we've been asking. What does it mean to be an IICS insider as a student, as a teacher, and in your case, as members of the junior high school? So I'll allow you to introduce yourselves first, however. Students first.
Okay, so I'll start. My name is Owen. I'm currently studying in IICS Junior High as a 8th grader. I'm in Java Rhinos, and I'm also in A2 class.
Okay. What Java Rhinos? What does that mean?
Oh, that's actually the house I'm in. So, yeah. In IICS, there's this thing called animal houses where you're assigned when you first enter junior high. So.
Okay, so that is your house,
Yes.
Java Rhinos.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Audrey. So maybe, Audrey, you can tell us what's your house first, because that sounds really interesting.
My house is Komodo dragons.
Okay, so you've got the rhinos and the Komodo dragons. Now go ahead, Audrey. Tell us some more about yourself.
My name is Audrey Effendi. I am in grade 8-1, class 8-1, and it's my 8th year here in IICS. I've been here since elementary.
And let's hear from your teachers.
So since we're speaking about houses, I would also like to introduce, I'm actually from Papua Eagle, so one of the houses in IICS, and I'm also the grade 7 English teacher. So one of the things that I love most is reading, and that's what I really, really hope that students would also enjoy, for them to fall in love with books as well.
All right, so that's Miss Erica, and so now Mr. Evan.
Okay, my name is Evan Kurnia Swandi. If we talk about the house, so far I don't have any house, so we call our house as White House because in IICS also I'm the student affairs assistant. So and I'm also the mathematics teacher for the junior high, and I teach grade 8.
Wow, that's a very a very broad number of things that you do, Mr. Evan. But I like the idea that if you are not, you're working with student affairs, you're not assigned to a house, because then you have to be neutral. You have to treat everybody equally. There must be no competition coming from you. All right, but let's talk a little bit about the question of the day, which is, what does it mean to be an IICS insider? And we want to have a sort of broader perspective on this. Let's talk about it maybe from an academic perspective or from the perspective of a personal, sort of a personal standpoint, or even from the level of the community. And anybody can start. What does it mean to be an IICS insider?
Okay, I'll start. When we look at the word IICS insider, it means that what does it mean when you study in IICS as a student, and also how is the experience like? So for me, it's a really good experience. I've been here since third grade elementary, and for me, this is a very, very good school. I really enjoy studying here. Also, not only because the lessons is good and the teachers are like really passionate about teaching, but also in here we are educated to be more and more like Christ.
Okay. Audrey, any thoughts?
For me, IICS is a community where I can grow with my friends, the teachers, and everyone based on the values of Christians. From an academic standpoint, I think that IICS focuses on academics, but we also focus on the spiritual side. So we're not only focused on like getting, oh, my math has to be 100, my science has to be 100. No, but then we have to be like Christ, and our character, which is also important, we also focus on that. So I think that's really important.
Right, so a balance between your academics and your belief, your character. Now, from the teachers, do you consider yourselves IICS insiders? You think in the same way that your students do?
Yes, definitely. Because when you say insider, you're not merely a spectator. You're not just watching. You're actually part of the planning. You're actually the one also being involved. So not only are the students the one doing the activities, but you also do it with them. I like how Audrey said that it's a community wherein they grow. It's not only the students who's growing, but actually the teachers are also growing together with them. Because as an insider, we have the privilege also to learn from our own students.
Yes, and Mr. Evan?
Yeah, I agree with Audrey. We are a family here, yeah? And we grow together, like the Bible said, iron sharpen iron. So, yeah, we are sharpen one another as a family, and we grow together here, miss. So, yeah.
Okay, it's interesting, though, Mr. Evan, that you guys say that. And everybody can jump in, but how does that allow you to have competition in houses? You're a family, but then you've got Papua Eagles, you've got Java Rhinos. How do you work it out as a family with that type of competition? Or maybe the other thing that I should ask is, what purpose does the house system serve in your family in the junior high?
I think what it really means for the houses to be there, and also why we are assigned to animal houses, is because we learn how to do teamwork. And also, like, when we lose or win, it actually doesn't really affect how we are not becoming one family, because as one, we're still as an IICS family, right? It's just that we're trying to learn to have good teamwork, and also having our own, it's like having a very good working together. And also, like, in order to achieve something, you also need to try hard, like by not getting late, or like going on time in class, and like getting good grades, or like everything. You earn house points, right? And like when you earn that house points, it's like the reward of what you achieve, and like it's like the reward of your hard work, something like that. And like it's not for competing purposes, but then like it's more to like teamwork and learning how to work together.
Okay, and that's excellent, Owen, because what I'm thinking about as I listen to you guys share, I'm thinking about in a home where there are many siblings, everybody is different, and Miss Erica is shaking her head. What are your thoughts on that, Miss Erica?
Yeah, that's what I was actually about to say. In the house, for those of us who have siblings, we do compete with each other, but at the end of the day, no matter how many arguments, competitions you have, you still are siblings, you still are a family, you still are together. So I like how Owen said that, yeah, it is a competition, but at the same time, it is a teamwork among houses. So I like the idea that it is actually a motivation. Just like, for example, for my grade 7, they are so motivated for them to work together because they know that if one of them will, for example, will wake up late, then the whole team will be affected. So they are so encouraged that they're helping each other make sure that tomorrow you're on time. And if one of their classmates is not yet there, let me call them miss. I'll be the one to contact them. So that is very helpful.
Okay. And on that note, what comes to mind is, as a teacher here at IICS, you get to add value to the learning, you know. And I just wanted to have your perspective, maybe Mr. Evan, what kind of value, or Ms. Erica, either one of you or both of you, what kind of value do you think you add to the learning that goes on here amongst the students at IICS?
As a mathematics teacher, for me, when we deal with number, when we deal with process, and we deal with something that they need to do systematically, so yeah, we train them, we put them in the exercise for them to be disciplined, okay, and then to be familiar with process also, to think in order. Yeah, I think that's the value that we can add to the learning, Miss.
Yeah, and that's great. Ms. Erica, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, for me, there are two things that we can add value. First is the personal, and then the other one is the academic. So when it comes to personal, it is always important for a teacher to build relationships with students, right? So if you don't really have that relationship, it's hard to reach out to students. It's hard for them to enjoy learning if you will only know them by name and also by grades or by number. So it's important for you to know them in order for us also what works best for them. And let's say for an academic point of view, let's say that we're studying The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's not simply saying, okay, who are the characters, but also asking, how can you relate to this character? What are your similarities? Why do you think that person did that? And in their own life, they would also say, hey, in some ways, I'm similar because sometimes I'm also acting the same way as that character.
Yes, and Audrey, do you value the learning that you get at IICS, or how do you value it? Because your teachers are saying that, you know, there's a lot of value that they add and that they're sharing and that they're helping as they mold character, as they guide you through your learning. But what value do you get from the learning that you do at IICS?
As I said before, I think the value is like Christian values. So I think when we study, just like Miss Erica said, as students, we don't only get the okay, so what's 1 + 1, what's this, what's that. But then we also learn from the teachers, like what did they do? We see it. And then, we copy it. And since we have really good teachers here, we have really good friends from the community, we can get the values probably that we didn't have before, since junior high is like the preparation stage before senior high, before college. So we can get our foundation set like right now, and it's strong. It's built in Christ. So I think we can get a lot of values from friends, from teachers, from everywhere.
Okay. And what value do you add? Because sometimes when we're part of a community, when we're part of a school, we think about what we're getting. But what are you giving? Anybody has thoughts about that? Owen, you're shaking your head. You wanna say something about that? What value is Owen adding? How do you build up the community?
Okay, this is a tough question, but okay.
It is, Owen.
Okay.
But you're able. Come on now.
Okay. So, the value that I would like to add into when I'm learning, or like when I'm studying, or like stuff like that. I think I want to add a value that we do everything not for the sake of getting good grades, not for the sake of making our parents proud, not for the sake of making our teachers proud, but it's actually really, really for our own self and for like the glory of God itself. Because when you die or when you pass away, God wouldn't ask you what is your math test score, what is your English test score, right? I mean, like, yeah, he wouldn't ask you all those stuff. Yeah, so I think, yeah.
And that's an excellent way to come to the next question that I have, because I'm wondering about your thoughts on whether it matters that IICS is a Christian school. And I think everybody has touched on that in some way or another. But maybe I'll just ask Ms. Erica, what exactly Or why? Why does it matter that we're a Christian school?
For me, it actually matters because even though, let's be honest, not everyone will immediately accept Christ just because they've been in a Christian school for a long time. I was raised in a Christian school as well. But even though I did not immediately accept Christ when I was in junior high, those seeds were planted into my heart. And then probably my teachers did not see the fruit of what they planted, but eventually it grew on me. So same with the students, probably I will say, it seems that the devotion is not working on them, but I know I'm planting it. And if we keep doing that one, later on, I know that it's not us who will probably see it, but I believe that those little seeds will grow on later, and we'll just be surprised that these students are the one who's going to be sharing devotion to other people next time.
Awesome. I'm just blown away at how much you're able to expound on this. But then I think this is so because you are part of the community. You are convicted about what you do and how you do it and why you do it. And that is why it's really a passionate response that I'm hearing from you as members of the junior high, whether teacher or student, on these different questions that we're asking so that we could understand better who is the IICS Insider or what it means to belong to this community. However, let's take a break and we'll go to our IICS ambassador for a word from our IICS ambassador. But when we're back, I'm going to ask you some rapid-fire questions. And let's see how you respond.
Come and visit our virtual school exhibition Inspire on 11th until 13th of November. Join our talk show and enjoy our students' live performances and artworks displayed in the virtual gallery. Find out more details on our Instagram at IPK_integrated.
Right, and we're back. So let me ask you some rapid-fire questions. And it's all about being part of IICS. The first one, what's your best experience? Any takers? No best experiences at all?
I have one actually. So there's this one time. I think the best experience is that there's this one time I get to actually experience performing in the Christmas service when I was, I think, in grade 5 elementary. I think I was one of the cast for the Christmas night where, so in those period of time, I think I get to experience going to a real studio and really recording my voice and also like rehearsing every time after school. I think that's a really, really good experience. And also like, it taught me a lot like on new experiences and a lot more, I think.
Okay, excellent. So we have a best experience performance. Any worst experiences? Oh, another best experience. Yes, go
for
ahead,
me,
Mr.
I forget, around 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was the PCT and my PCG get the PCG of the month last time. And that's the first time and I think that's the only one for me. So yeah, that's the best experience for me, Miss.
Okay, the only one in how many years?
This is my 7 years, so I think that's the only one.
I think so too. Let's give him a round of
Yeah, Miss.
Okay. Any worst experiences?
Worst experience. There was a time when we were doing online learning. It was last year when suddenly I felt that Thanos just snapped his fingers and all my students left. I was like, what's happening? And then actually what happened was all Wi-Fi provider just shut down and all of my students were gone. And I was thinking, did they leave me because I was so boring? But then they came back and everyone was said, sorry miss, it's because of the Wi-Fi. And I was like, okay, you did not leave me intentionally, right?
Okay, no, you're well loved, Miss Erica. And any other worst experiences? Audrey?
When Owen mentioned the Christmas event, I remembered last time I was probably in grade 3 or something, and I got the solo role. But the problem was when we came to the recording studio, I think I learned the wrong notes. So I couldn't get that note right. I don't know why. I tried like 10 times probably. It was so embarrassing because everyone, when they came in the booth, the recording one, they just did like one take and then that was it. And then the teacher was like so happy. But then for me, I had to take it like 10 times and I still couldn't get the note right. At least the teacher was like really helpful, so I didn't feel that embarrassed.
Right, and there is one of the things that teachers do here. They support you, they embrace you, they help carry you through, right? Any funny experiences? Although some of these experiences, sorry, but I find them funny, some of them. But any other experiences that you think might be funny?
Funny, just a while ago, someone made a clay figure out of me. And then when the student tried to make glasses, I looked like one of the Incredibles.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, at least we do get to enjoy ourselves here at IICS. It's not just about work. How about online, offline, or hybrid? Which one would you choose?
I think for me personally, I prefer full on offline. Because for me, having online school, it's just the stress there is really it's really there, and it's like it's not that it's not stressful, but it's like you have so many assignments and you'll need to spend like most of your days looking at your laptop, and it's like number one, it's of course very bad for your eyes and also for your health, and number two, I think it's very tiring to stare at the screen for so long and like no interaction with real people. You see them through the screen. It's like a video call, and like you don't have real interaction, and that is why I think I prefer full offline or like.
Okay. Mr. Evan, how about you?
Same with Owen, yeah. As for mathematics, however, it's still easier if we show the process by writing it on the whiteboard and stuff. So doing it offline is, for me, is much better, than the online. But however, by having online, I learned a lot also how to deliver the materials, without the whiteboard. So, we learn to use the digital stuff, the technology to teach you. So, but if I prefer the offline, miss.
Okay, excellent. And we are in a steep learning curve, aren't we? In terms of catching up with the technologies and the digitalization of teaching and learning. However, ladies, what do you think? Offline, online, or hybrid?
Online because there's no traffic, but offline because I do need human interaction as well, not only from my colleagues but also from the students.
What about you, Audrey? Which is your preference?
I like online because I don't need to wake up that early. So I just wake up like 3 minutes before devotion.
Okay.
But I would like offline because of the friendships. I think now in online, it's very hard to pay attention. There's so many distractions. And then everyone is muted. Most of the time, people have their cameras off. And in offline school, if you pass someone in the hallway, you can just strike up like a small conversation like, hi, hello. But even now, with my close friends, if I meet them offline, it becomes so awkward because we're used to texting and like not showing our face. So I still think offline would probably be better.
So it's almost as if we've made a shift, to sort of virtual space. And I suppose we'll have to get back used to being face-to-face together in some ways. We have to unlearn what it means to be online, to relearn what it means to be, engaging with each other in real time. But what are your thoughts on hybrid, though, before we move on? Any thoughts on hybrid? Anybody involved in hybrid here?
Okay, I'm one of the hybrid students, so like I have some experience. I think it is good that at least now once in a week we can meet our friends and like at least we can have human interaction and not only looking through the screens. But in the same time, I think the time that you spend at school, it's kind of like too short, and for me it's just a waste of car gas because you go to school in the morning and then you go home, you only stay in school for 2 hours, and then when you go home, you continue in online learning. So it's like not that long enough, and the lessons are also like too short. So like for me, I prefer like the full online or full offline. Okay. But then it's also good somehow with the hybrid that in the middle of online, you can actually come to school and meet friends. It's also a good thing.
Okay. But if we were to consider the reason why all of this is happening, which is the pandemic and trying to keep everybody safe, do you think the hybrid is still worth it? Anyone? Even though it's shorter and it's sort of like highly controlled, but we're doing it for a purpose. Is it still worth it?
I think it's still worth it because we're still on a trial period. I mean, we cannot just immediately fully open it, though I understand Owen's point of view. And of course, it's also difficult for the students, as you've said a while ago, we have to unlearn some things again. So it is worth it in a way that we're doing it slowly in a trial period so that when the time comes that we have to be fully opened, somehow the awkwardness that Audrey was saying, it will slowly be gone. Slowly we're able to adjust how to talk to our real life person again and how to just communicate without texting.
It's almost as if we're learning as babes
Yeah.
How to live with each other again in real life, well, it's not that being online is not real life, it's real life, but, being together physically. So thank you for what has been a very excellent conversation. You've really made this easy as we speak together. And thank you for coming out because we're all here in this space together physically as well. But last thing, though, we started out with the question, right? We started out with the question, what does it mean to be an IICS Insider? And so, is anybody ready to sum up before we close? What does it mean to be an IICS Insider? Now that we've talked it through, what do you think? What are your final thoughts?
I think as a student that has been, I cannot say I'm that been like a really, really long student that studies in here, but like as a students that have been studying in this school for like more 4 years, I think it is IICS Insider is really, really like, it's not just you go to school every day and then like you go home after that. This is if we're talking about offline school, and in online probably like you join the G Meet and then you leave after that and you have morning devotion and like whatsoever. But I think the real point is like you really, really take this time to find what is your interest or like what is your passion, because through all this at the end you only lead up to one, which is what you're good at. You're not gonna like study everything when you're in university or when you're in college. You're gonna pick a major. So like I think this is where the time, especially in junior high school, where you actually explore and really, really look at what you're good at. So not only that, but then also based on God's values. And yeah.
Okay, so if I'm to sum it up, Owen, would I be correct to say that you think being an IICS Insider is being someone who gets the opportunity
Yes.
to find their best self?
Yes.
At least in junior high.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Any other contributors? Thank you, Owen. Yes, Audrey.
And just like what Owen said, in finding this opportunity, we can grow in IICS as part of a Christian community, so we can be with the right people who are there to guide us, to sharpen us, to find like who we really are, and at the same time, strengthen our faith in Christ, strengthen our academics, strengthen our character, everything, all in one.
And so being an IICS Insider is about holistic development and the opportunity to experience holistic development, not just in academics, but also in our character and grow in our faith. So thank you, Audrey. And the teachers, any ideas, any thoughts?
For me, it's the place for us to grow, to grow together, the students growing, the teachers growing, and growing in Christ, of course, as we are a Christian community. That's for me, Miss.
Great. And Miss Erica?
So being an IICS Insider is having the front row seat that I can watch my students grow, I can watch my colleagues grow, I can watch the school and the educational system develop, and I'm there watching it and I'm there being a part of it.
Okay. And I think for this conversation, as I think about all that you've shared, one of the things that strikes me is the fact that we are lifelong learners. And that's one of the values that we hold as a school. And your thoughts, your experiences, everything that you've shared tells me that. It reinforces that we are indeed a community of lifelong learners. So thank you. Thank you again for being here. And that's it, folks. The IICS Insiders Podcast. Join us next time. Bye-bye.
Come and join our IICS Parenting Webinar Series. Our next parenting webinar will be held on Saturday, 27th November at 9 until 10:30 a.m. Our speaker, Ibu Charlotte Priyatna, will be sharing about oneness in one nest. Don't miss it!